view of the anatomy of the spinal cord, I'm going to be referring back to the neurology course that you all took with me, which was awesome. But refer back to that for a review, because that's going to help with your understanding. I know it's been a little while since you've probably looked at that material. But again, the spinal cord itself ends at about L2. We have the cauda equina. Below that, the blood to the spinal cord is supplied by the vertebral and the spinal arteries. And again, we have, when you're looking at the cord itself, you have the gray matter, which is that pattern that resembles a butterfly in the middle. And then the white matter that surrounds that butterfly. And those are the longitudinal bundles of myelinated nerve fibers. So again, taking a look at how the spinal cord sits inside the vertebral column. So again, there are tight spaces where those nerves are exiting the cord. We have that intervertebral disc. And the picture on the right again is showing the gray matter. And again, that gray matter are the interneurons, the cell bodies of the motor neurons and the neuroglia. And then the white matter are those myelinated fiber tracts, the axons, the bundles of axons that carry the information up and down. And then at the bottom of the spinal cord, we have that cauda equina, which is where those nerve roots that extend, and it looks like the horse's tail. That's where the word cauda equina comes from. Those long axons that extend down below the cord. And then you have the conus, which is that very cone kind of pointy end of the cord itself, which lies below that lumbar enlargement. It's the inferior tip of the spinal cord. And again, here is another picture of the spinal cord sitting in the middle of the vertebral bodies. And again, it's a small, tight space. So if you have trauma to the column, and the column is providing, one layer of protection of the cord. So when we break or fracture the bony part of the column, we really put that spinal cord at risk. So you could have a fracture. A lot of the spinous process could break off. The transverse process could break off during a trauma. The whole vertebral column can shift, and that spinal cord is sitting right there in the middle at risk. This is another picture of the cord. Again, you've seen this picture before, again, showing you the cervical and the lumbar enlargement. And again, that cervical enlargement are all the nerves that supply that shoulder and the upper limb. And then that lumbar enlargement at the bottom are the nerves of the pelvis and the lower limbs. You can see all the dorsal roots coming off, the ventral roots coming off. So it might behoove you, if you're looking at this and not remembering, pull out your neurology, open it right up to that section. And that might really help. So a couple different types of mechanisms of injury. So a mechanism of injury is exactly what's happening that's causing the injury to the spinal cord. So there are 4 major types that are mechanisms of injury for a spinal cord injury. So there are the cervical flexion rotation injury. There's a hyperflexion injury. There's a hyperextension injury, or a compression injury. Now we're going to talk about specifically what's happening. But come back to this picture as we move forward, because this picture, I think, gives you a good visual so you can imagine exactly what's happening in the body when there's these different types of impact to the column itself. So I'm going to pause it here, but don't hesitate to pause my next lecture and go back and take a picture of this, because I think it'll help make it more, give you kind of a visual to help make more sense of exactly what's happening.